Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 9 of Krusty Canuck. I'm your host, Krusty. In today's episode, we're going to be discussing the whole SNC-Lavalin fiasco and Ministry of Truth and all that other good stuff. Coming up on Krusty Canuck. Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Krusty Canuck. This is episode 9. As I mentioned in the preview, yes, we're going to be discussing the SNC-Lavalin conspiracy and all the other bullshit that has been looming around it. Kind of like flies on shit. Now, before I carry on, if you'd like to purchase a sticker, I have a variety of them for sale at teespring.com. And as you see on the shirt behind me here, this side, that side, anyhow, teespring.com, Krusty Canuck merchandise. I'll leave the link at the bottom. As I said, every item sold and every donation, I will give 25% to the Calgary Veterans Food Bank. That is correct. I will give 25% of every sale and donation to the Calgary Veterans Food Bank. I want to say thank you to all the subscribers I have out there, especially new ones. Hello again. Good to see you. And thanks for everybody who followed me on my last Q&A I had last week. A few people come out to say hello, asked a few questions, which is good. I'll try better to make a better one. In the meantime, stay tuned, and, well, here's my spiel. So, in the SNC-Lavalin incident, we have Ms. Raybould, who was previously the Attorney General of Canada, and then in some big switch move, became the Veterans Affairs Minister, and then all of a sudden, as of today, she's resigned. Kind of speaks for itself now, doesn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Kind of speaks to the point where, okay, we've got this clown in Ottawa who's shuffling and shuffling and shuffling, you know, like the bad pop song, and something's going on. Something's not right. We've said this before, haven't we? We've put this together before, especially when an official is elected and says magical things like, I admire China's basic dictatorship, and Quebec is the best province in Canada. Quebecers are so much better than other Canadians. And there is a link to that. I can't seem to find it at the moment, but we've all seen it. And, of course, how the budget will balance itself. Now, this clown has spent $20 billion, has given away so many billions, had to borrow some to give some away. And now he's telling, or he asked, Miss Raybould, not to persecute. I think he's dug his own grave, ladies and gentlemen. I think he's done. But I don't think he's done soon enough. Let's wait, hopefully, until October when we can actually get rid of these clowns and all these other so-called ministers and experts from governing our lives any further. Okay? I would say hats off to Miss Raybould for doing the honorable thing. I would have loved to seen her actually go with the persecution to see what these SNC clowns are actually doing, whether they're scratching backs, whether they're making deals or favors of some sort. I would like to also see some real hard-line justice brought down on these individuals. I, for one, I'm just a blue-collar guy, cranky old veteran. I have friends that are blue-collar guys and gals. Some of them are veterans, too. Needless to say, the floodgates are open. They are. People are coming out of the woodwork saying, I know this and I know that. I'll have links at the bottom of my page to back up my claims here. But still, we predicted this, ladies and gentlemen. We've seen this coming numerous times. We've seen how these clowns operate, right? Back deals, every government's had them, right? The Duffy case under the Harper government, you know. Mike Duffy gets $90 million, well, I'm thinking ahead, $90,000, and the conspiracy that went with that, and the hard-nosed and hard-line opposition against what he did, and yet Justin Trudeau's cabinet has squandered money, billions, since its inception. His whole 50% parity for the sake of identity politics rather than actual qualifications to get the job done. And now it's going to backfire. I'm happy to see that. Really, I am. I'm happy to see that. When you get an individual that has been raised in a rich household. Now, I'm not condemning rich people. I'm not. They got rich for a reason. Okay, good for them. You know, a lot of us like to think because of hard work and dedication. But people forget that Justin Trudeau's background came from oil and gas. His grandfather made a fortune from oil and gas. Okay? Any encyclopedia would tell that about Pierre Trudeau and his background and what Pierre Trudeau's father did with the oil and gas industry in the 1920s. Okay? That speaks for itself. But this whole SNC-Lavalin thing, a whole conspiracy, big construction companies, like we remember them with contracts overseas, you know. Call it the Canadian equivalent to Halliburton. However, they're slimy, they're corrupt. Okay, it happens. And ironically enough, happens to be a Quebec company, too. Wasn't there a sponsorship scandal of some sort back in the 90s under the Chrétien and Martin Liberals, too? Wasn't there millions upon millions of dollars going here and going there in the name of progress? When the Canadian taxpayer was getting up the chuff yet again? Makes you think, doesn't it? Anyway. Well, I hope, Miss Raybould, hope you all the best. I appreciate what you have done, even though you're liberal. Okay? But I would highly suggest that you tell the Canadian people what's going on. Really. You know, that would be the honorable thing to do. Right? Doesn't matter what party you're with. Doesn't matter if you're liberal, conservative, NDP, shoehorn this, rhinoceros this. Doesn't matter if you're libertarian. I don't care. You've seen something. You've done something. Okay, you resigned. Get yourself out of the fire. 1 second. Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. Pardon the interruption there. Possible client giving me a call. Anyhow, carrying on from my last spiel. Yes, SNC-Lavalin and the powers that be. Well, October will speak for itself. Moving on to the Ministry of Truth that I mentioned in today's title. Yes, Ms. Karina Gold, the Minister of Democratic Institutions, and Mr. Ralph Goodale, Mr. Public Safety Minister, and of course our Defense Minister, Harjit Sajjan, you know, Mr. Badass, Mr. Versatile, Mr. I Ramrod it Op Medusa, and Operation Market Garden, and Cap Young, you know, Mr. Genius, are weighing in on the whole, what do you say, critical election incident public protocol. Basically, ladies and gentlemen, they're current fear-mongering. Okay? Now, this is based on an article from the Post-Millennial, based on the opinion of who I think is a very good writer. Basically, these three people are getting together to make sure that we're not getting any kind of online fake news. And yet, it's been the online world the past few years that has exposed a lot of terrible things and actually bring to light some of the harder topics that we should be talking about, especially when it comes to Canadian elections. So when you get three individuals together, you know, trying to, I don't know, thwart online activity, basically is what it is. So when you get these clowns together telling us what to read, what to say, what to do in the name of democracy, I really don't think that they're looking out for our best interests. And considering that it's election year, I think the whole party's on the cusp of actual worry that they might get booted out at a record rate. But see, what I don't understand, based on that article, which I'll leave a link below, I don't see why the Public Safety Minister and the Defense Minister have to weigh in on critical election incident public protocol. Doesn't that just roll off the tongue? Say that 3 times fast. Wow. Ms. Karina Gold, of course, Minister of Democratic Institutions, who was actually appointed. As far as I'm concerned, she doesn't deserve the job. Not because she's a she, because she's not qualified. And of course, we all have heard my spiel about Ralph and Mr. Harjit. So here's more of these unqualified people telling us what to do. Well, based in the article, Sounds like what they're trying to do. It sounds like they're trying to thwart people's decisions and trying to socially engineer what we think and what we do when it comes to our elections. Now, they're worried about foreign interference. They're worried about, oh, we can't have this and we can't have that, all in light of what's happening in the States with the whole Russian collusion thing, what have you. Now, as a Canadian, I do worry what goes on south, because a lot of that emulates up here, too. Every aspect of the social justice warrior spectrum that's been plaguing us for the past 5 years, the whole gender identity BS, the whole identity politic, and the whole called phantom sexism that's rampant in our society, and of course everyone's favorite, the toxic masculinity debacle that Gillette promoted before. All I'm going to say, people, is that please think for yourselves, okay? Don't let these clowns and putzes decide for us what is right. We, you, your friends, my friends, your family, my family, all of our little circles of people, we decide what's good for us based on our individual choices. Okay? The federal government wants to spend more money on creating these positions to say they're protecting you when really they're just trying to cover their own asses. You know something's up. Right? The mainstream media has been all over this SNC issue, and it's a wonder they're not all over this whole Ministry of Truth, metaphorically, issue as well. We don't need a group of politicians to decide what is good news, what is bad news. We don't need elected officials that are making $150,000 to $250,000 a year telling me what I have to read or telling you what you have to read. You decide. Okay? Most of these people are career politicians. They've been part of their own cabinet shuffles with other governments, signing this, signing that, crossing this T, dotting this I, all in the so-called name of our democracy. As a patriot, as a Canadian, as a husband, as a brother, as an uncle, and as a friend, okay? All I'm going to ask my viewers here, really, really consider and start thinking about who we're going to put in office, honestly. It's my God-given right, your God-given right, to speak out against any status quo, any kind of ideology, any kind of theology, anything for that matter. Because I want to live in a country that's free to choose what you want, free to wear what you want, free to buy what you want, right? And free to speak what you want, to say what you want, to write, create, songs, art, everything. And I'm starting to think this is really, really turning into just one hell of a mess, right? This democracy, I think, is getting compromised more and more every day because of these aforementioned agendas, right? I just hope that we wake up and really smell the coffee when it comes to October, right? The only thing I can honestly wish for right now is a democracy where we can get along. But we have these elected officials that have constantly promoted division. People giving us a hard time for saying it's okay to be white, or people giving a hard time because, well, you're a male. Oh, you have privilege. If it's a privilege to get up and try to go find a good job every day to better myself, you're right, that's a privilege. And that's a privilege that everyone in this country has. And it doesn't matter if you're white, pink, purple, black, or whatever you identify with. Everyone in this country has that privilege to do so. So let's stop going backwards. Let's start going forwards. Okay? Let's get rid of these clowns and these putzes. They're calling the shots. Okay? Let's get back to simple ethics and simple morals. Right? I've done things in my past I'm not proud of, but I atone those, and I own that. Right? I'm sure you've done things in your past that you're not proud of, and I hope to God you atone for them too. Right? But let's move on. Let's make this country great for what it is. Let's make it open for people. Let's have the equality of opportunity the way it should be. Right? Simple work. Get out and hustle your butt. Sometimes you might have to work harder. Sometimes you might not have to. right? But that's just the way life goes. If you're afraid of bad words, don't listen. But you're the one that's going to lose out if you don't listen, right? Don't like bad situations? Well, don't get into bad situations. Make some clear, concise choices, okay? Anyhow, enough of this stuff. Enough of this ministry of truth. They're all clowns as far as I'm concerned. Anyhow, I have been Krusty Canuck. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks again to all the subscribers out there and new subscribers and followers on my Facebook page. You can follow me on Facebook under Krusty Canuck. Please consider donating on my Patreon, PayPal, Subscribestar, and please consider picking up some merchandise at teespring.com. All the links will be at the bottom. And I hope you guys look after yourself. And remember, humanity and merit wins the day. Bye for now.